firms, and in addition, it ranked 6th and 8th respectively among ENR's 2023 top 250 global contractors and top 250 international contractors. In the global power construction industry, Power China has always ranked first in terms of capability and performance. By following the principle of integrating industrial chain and diversifying competitive industries, Power China has established a complete business structure, which from the lateral perspective includes a variety of industries like energy and power, water resources, environment, infrastructures, real estate development, and so forth. It covers the whole engineering construction process involving planning, programming, construction contracting, investment and operation, equipment, manufacturing, etc. The complete business structure enables Power China to be well valued in providing a complete industrial service and creating integrated solution. The construction and operation of Upper Marshangdi A hydroelectric project exerted advantages of the full industry chain management, which played a key role in achieving progress, safety, and quality goals. The second is to have a sincere cooperation with various local sectors. Both shareholders of the project cooperate in good faith and maintain good cooperative relationships with the Nepal Electricity Authority and other units. Due to slow construction of the Kudi substation planned to be connected to the project, in order to solve the power shortage in Nepal, the company invested in the construction of a 20-kilometer emergency transmission line and temporarily connected it to the switch station of the Middle Marshangdi power station to avoid the situation where the project's electricity cannot be output. Since the Upper Marshangdi A power station was put into operation, the NEA has fulfilled its obligations with integrity in terms of electricity payment and other aspects, and both parties have cooperated well. The third is to actively give back to the society and benefit from the local area. The company, together with the local government, villager representatives, established a concern and support committee to handle local affairs. We carefully select corporate social responsibility projects and actively promote economic and social development of locals. Since the operation period, the project company has implemented more than 200 social responsibility projects, invested more than 50 million rupees in social responsibility funds, and has paid 210 million rupees in various taxes and fees for Nepal since its operation. Regarding the future development of hydropower industry of Nepal, I hereby appeal that, firstly, the government should vigorously promote the cross-border power cooperation mechanism. At the same time, cross-border power cooperation will further enhance the stability of Nepal's power grid. Secondly, energy-intensive industries should be promoted. Currently, there is a surplus electricity in Nepal during rainy season, and the oversupply of electricity will further intensify in the next few years. To address the issue of power imbalance between the rainy and dry seasons, the Nepalese government should plan for more run-of-the-river and pondage and reservoir-type hydropower stations to enhance Nepal's power grid regulation capacity. Thirdly, supportive policies for the hydropower industry should be implemented. Laws and regulations of Nepal are gradually improving, making it possible for the healthy development of hydropower industry. However, in recent years, some laws and regulations have not met the development needs of the hydropower industry and have also hindered foreign investment. Fourthly, we hope the concept of win-win cooperation can be deepened and a more friendly business environment for investors can be created. The government of Nepal, from the federal to the local level and various ministries, should strengthen the education and standardized management of villages and communities to avoid unreasonable demands, even obstructing work, which leads to the normal operation of projects being interfered and will cause huge losses to the Nepalese country and investors. Power China will continue to conduct through thorough research on the Nepalese market with hydropower development as its core business. We fully leverage our capabilities in integrating new energy sources and strive for breakthroughs. We will operate steadily, healthily, and sustainably, making full use of our advantages in the water, energy, and urban sectors. We will work closely with Chinese, Nepalese, and third country enterprises and partners in Nepal, continuing to deepen strengthen our development in Nepal and making unremitting efforts to promote friendly economic and trade exchanges between China and Nepal. Thank you for listening to my speech. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Shivani, for interpreting what Mr. Howe presented. Now I'd like to invite Mr. Amlan Mukherjee. I'm moving from hydropower to some other sector now, and he is the MD and CEO of Unilever Nepal Limited, and he has very vast experience, actually 30 years of experience in industry experience in general management, brand management, and sales and marketing. So, and currently he is the MD and CEO of Unilever Nepal Limited since April 2020. Now, may I request you to make a brief presentation, and I'd like to request you for completing your presentation within 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Don't worry, I'll try and close it in 5 minutes. Honorable Chief Secretary, my fellow panelists, the investors sitting in this room and the future investors, I stand here on behalf of Unilever, a 60 billion euro company globally, which operates in 108 countries globally. Now, why did I name 108 countries? It is because of the fact that not in all 108 countries we produce. In some of the countries, we source through neighboring countries. But in Nepal, we produce, and we produce for the last 30 years. And we plan to produce, we plan to manufacture for the next 70, if not more. Now, how do we do it? If we look at, we define an opportunity of a market mostly in 4 parameters: market size, white space to grow, regulations, and industrial relationship. I'll give you a perspective of the market size. All of us, we know that Nepal is a 30 million, around 30 million in terms of population. If I tell you that Malaysia has nearly 30 million of population, if I tell you Ukraine has nearly 30 million population, if I tell you Canada has around 35 million of population, does it change a bit of your perspective? Does it give you the market size and the future opportunity of this land? That there are that many consumers who are present over there, and it is important to grow the market, to grow the GDP, so that these consumers, they have the ability to purchase, and which will ultimately lead to growth. That is how we define this market, and we say that this market has a huge headroom in terms of growth. Regulations, lots have been spoken from the morning. I'll just give one point. For the last 3 years I'm here. On certain issues I've engaged with the government of Nepal a number of times, multiple times. Last week, an ordinance has been passed, and today this has been made legalized. A number of our requests has been accepted by government of Nepal. And for the manufacturing industry, it is very, very important request, right? So if I am optimistic out of it, I leave it to you. And the last but not the least, the industrial relationship. Since 2021, I am here. We haven't lost. We have a huge factory. We have a really huge factory in Hitoda. We haven't lost one mandate in the last 3.5 years. That is what the industrial relationship stands for. Now, this is about Nepal. I think in my left 2.5 minutes, I should talk about a bit about Unilever Nepal also. We started with one SKU. Some of you may know it was called Will. And today, we make 150 products in Nepal. We pay directly and indirectly almost 300 crores of tax to the Nepal exchequer. We have started the journey. Today, our share price in Nepal, in terms of the investors who have trusted us, is almost 300 USD. Today, our market cap in Nepal is 275 million USD, right? Now, if this is not an example of success, then what it will be? And it is not the example of Unilever's success. Sorry. This is an example of Nepal's success. Today, if you have opened the newspaper, most of the newspaper which is worth, the only line which you have put in, and those newspapers are, I think, in your packet, you can take it out, is that if we can, you can. Right? So that's our approach. I'll speak about only two parts of our operations. One is Unilever is a marketing company. We take a pride that, if not the best, we are amongst the best marketeers in the world. Those marketing best practices we have got in Nepal. Today, the Nepal-made advertisement is being played in different countries. Today, the Nepal-made activation is being mentioned in Kantar. If you know, some of you may not know about Kantar. It is the largest market research agency in the world, in their annual report as an example of activation. And that activation was entirely made in Nepal during the Dasai time, which is the local festival that speaks about our involvement with the locality. The second thing which I'll speak about is about, we heard a lot about digital. When we talk about e-commerce, mostly we talk about B2C, business to consumers. There is a huge e-commerce which is B2B, business to business. Unilever Nepal has created a B2B platform which is called Shikhar. We cover 50,000 outlets in Nepal, much less than Devyani, but sorry, only that many outlets keep soaps. But in those outlets are tagged, GPS tagged. So every outlet is tagged in GPS. And 18,000 of that 50,000 outlets also deal with us through our app called Shikhar and place order which goes to the distributor, and the distributor services within 48 hours. Now, why am I saying this? I'm saying this because if we can, lots can. The e-com in Nepal has unending opportunity. To end my point, we are a responsible organization. Our plastic footprint is huge. I'm sure all of you know. We take back 100% of the plastic which we generate in Nepal. We take back the same quantity and more from the environment. And 60% of plastic we reprocess and reuse in different forms. 90% of the energy which we use in our factory is clean energy. So hence, as because we are working in Nepal, we never compromise on the Unilever standard of operation which we follow in rest of the countries. Nepal deserves the best. We try to give the best. I don't know how much we are successful. I end by saying, if we can, you can. Thank you so much.
Very inspiring quotes, and thank you very much. So now I'd like to invite Mr. Samrat Moga. He is the president of Moga Energy. He's a visionary leader known for impactful investments in green energy. He has the decade-long experience, and he spearheaded projects like Likhu 1, 2, and A, adding 161 megawatt to Nepalese grid. Now, may I also request you to please honor the time? Thank you.
Hello. Thank you, Mr. Honorable Chief Secretary, distinguished panelists, and the gentlemen in this room for having me today. Samrat Moga, 30, an engineer from New York. Many people have a reason to be fascinated with Nepal, some due to Mount Everest, some due to the beautiful valleys and the flowing rivers, and some due to the greenery. Mine comes from heritage. I was born to an Indian American father and a Nepali mother about some 30 years ago. I have been witnessing Nepal from my childhood and seeing the gap in development, the gap in the standard of living, coming here for a month out of the 12 in a year. So when I was 16, I found out about the possibilities in the energy sector in Nepal, though I mean, I know this seems like a very young age, but this is true. I found out about the possibilities in the energy sector, and I went to college determined to become an engineer in the renewable space, because I could see myself coming back here and hopefully generating a few megawatts of electricity. And that's what happened. In 2016, I formed Moga Energy right after graduating when I was 22. And I came to Nepal to understand what the market was like, what the investments here were like. And through our local partners, MV Lugar Group, we decided in 2018 to invest into Liku 1, Liku 2, and Liku A hydroelectric projects. We have come a long way since then. From a one-day drive and a two-day trek to reach our site, we can do it now in 8 hours. From dark villages, we've seen enlightened, from dark nights, we've seen enlightened villages. And from barren landscapes, we've seen what I would well call pretty powerhouses. We have just commissioned our last project of Liku 177. Now we have 161.4 megawatts of commissioned energy assets connected to the Nepalese grid. While building our projects from day one, we've always had an approach of being different. We've used the best consultants in the industry. We've used the most advanced equipment, taking our electromechanical equipment from Andres. Not only that, we are the only power plant in Nepal which has the capacity to be operated without a single person, completely manless and automated capacity is inbuilt into our power plant. Not only this, we have also used the most advanced methods of construction, whether that be using the most reliable tunneling equipment, the highest safety standards, the most experienced of contractors, and it has allowed us to set many records, one of which is the fastest tunnel construction in 1 month period. We have done this with our formidable and skilled team in the country, and all of this has resulted in us producing very highly reliable power plants at a good cost, generating more than 98% of the planned energy. Now, we are not only providing clean and green energy to the Nepalese grid. We believe that the hydropower story goes much further than that. If you look at the impact our projects have, we've constructed 110 kilometers of road. By constructing the road, I've not only gotten probably a little heavier, but more so, this means that the people, the roughly 40 to 50,000 people that live along that road can now reach Kathmandu in about 8 hours as opposed to 3 days. This means that doctors and teachers which were not ready to walk 3 days to work somewhere are now looking for opportunity in that area. This means that when a project is constructed, a hospital is built, which is not only available to the local, to our manpower, but also to the local community. Not only do we provide, does this help in emergency, but this directly affects the cost of living. Prior to this, a person would have to walk 2 days to get a bag of rice. Now it's available at their local shop. Furthermore, due to the construction of the projects, a local transmission line and a local grid is built much before the projects are commissioned. This brings light to every single household much before the light from our own powerhouses are produced. In addition, the provision of having 10% local populace holding at a par value, which means 10% of our shares at the time of IPO will be held by the local communities, means that the wealth creation in which we are also gaining, that means that every single local person in that area is also gaining directly and economically in their bank account. Finally, when these projects are built, they have provided indirect and direct employment for nearly 5,000 people. Some of these people have been working in the GCC countries for 5, 10, 15 years with no hope of moving back and have seen their home maybe after a decade, having equivalent salaries considering inflation higher than what they were receiving outside the country. Some of these people have worked for the first time in a project, developing skills which will then be used and transferred to other people in the country as well. Finally, every single hydropower project comes with CSR activities. As per the current government mandate, 0.75% of the cost of any project should be used for CSR-related activities. What this means, if we look at the broader scheme of things, is that to develop 10,000 megawatts over the next 7 to 8 years, which is the government's plan, we need to have, that would induce a spending of almost $150 million on community support programs, and indirectly, 5 to 10% of every project's cost is infrastructure development. So that's $1.5 to $2 billion in infrastructure development, which is the type of impact for which grant aid money is required, which can happen through the private sector just through investment. There are always challenges when developing any type of project in the Hindu Kush, whether that is geological, whether that be technical, whether that be social. But the government has always stood with us in helping us overcome these issues, and the result of which are these commissioned assets. Without the government's support, without the local government support, and without the local people's support, it is absolutely impossible to do these projects. So I think by executing these projects, you can understand that what type of investment climate Nepal actually has to offer the world. Now, of course, we are very, very optimistic. I would go on to say we are very, very bullish about Nepal. With the continued support of the government and of our neighbors in our energy offtake, nothing can stop Nepal from becoming the green battery of Southeast Asia. Not only does Nepal have the ability to generate electricity, which is important, it also has the ability to store electricity because of its very topography. This could allow a green stabilizing force to the grids of our neighbors. And lastly, I would like to mention that with these assets now commissioned, Moga Energy is putting our money where our mouth is. We are launching an infrastructure fund and by the name of Moga Infrablocks Fund, and we are investing a further $100 million over the next 3 years into the renewable energy sector in Nepal. In addition to this, Moga Energy has done a tie-up with Tata Power through an FDI investment in Dugar Power, and we are looking at developing 100 megawatts of rooftop solar over the next 5 years so that everybody in the country, not just people next to the grid, have access to clean energy. In addition to this, we are also looking at using solar to balance the country's peak and off-peak load issues so that even in the winter, import requirement severely reduces from where it is currently. Very simply, our plan is very ambitious. We hope to produce 1,000 megawatts in the next 5 years. It's taken us about 8 to get to 161, but I think it's something that we can definitely achieve. And finally, we are also looking to bring this energy to every last consumer in the country. For that, we are working with Static to see how we could develop an EV charging network in the country. So these are only to demonstrate that if we can do it, as our friend from Unilever said, you can too. I would like to thank IBN for having me here today. I would also like to thank my mentor, specifically my grandfather, Mr. Motilal Dugar, for teaching me. And I would also like to thank the government of Nepal as well as the team of the IBN for inviting me here. I would like to end with an anecdote. Why do we do this at Moga? A friend of mine asked me a year ago, we were in Pokhara, you know, you're going to end up commissioning your last project. Why are you doing this? What's the purpose? What's the end goal? And I thought about it for just about a second, and I said, I wish I see the mountains every day from Kathmandu. I used to come here when I was young, and every single time, even in the monsoon, we would get to see the mountains every single day. But with global warming, with the climate where it is currently, that's not the case. So for us, our goal is very simple. We are investing in Nepal so that our children, my grandchildren, can see the mountains every day. And we urge you to invest in Nepal so that your grandchildren could do the same. Thank you for having me here today and giving me the time to speak.
Thank you, Sampath. Thank you very much for very insightful presentation. And thank you very much for highlighting all the successes that you have and all the support that you have been getting. And thank you very much for highlighting your plans also. So all the best for your plans, the future plans. Thank you very much. Now, I'd like to invite Mr. Gokarna Awasthi. He is currently serving as the Director General of FNCCI, the young gentleman, and he also has some different hats also. He was the previous journalist, and he is also involved in the academia, and now he is the Director General of FNCCI. So, Mr. Awasthi, I'd like to request you, because all the presenters here, they said about their stories. Now you tell about the overall industrialists in Nepal, how they are facing and how they are familiar with. So, but the time limit is the same.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chief Secretary, distinguished panelists, and participants. Namaste. On behalf of Federation of Nepali Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I would like to welcome all the participants to the third Nepal Investment Summit. When we speak about Nepal, we often think our country is small, but we are actually quite a large market. That is because we are between India and China, we think so. When we take population into consideration, Nepal is actually the 49th largest country in the world. In the last 25 years, around 4 million Nepalese have risen from the poverty line. 4 million people coming out from the poverty line means that the number of consumers in the Nepali market has also increased. And this could be the reason why the majority of the multinational companies operating in Nepal are performing well. The story of the multinational companies in Nepal is largely successful. As FNCCI is also the Employers' Council, we can say that the complaints related to labor issues have dropped. Our products are getting duty-free market access in India, China, and other developed countries. Now we are graduating to the League of Developing Nations in 2026. Even after Nepal graduates to a developing nation in 2026, we will still able to avail duty-free facility in some developed nations till 2029. Due to Indo-Nepal Trade Treaty, preferential market access will remain in India. The Middle East is another potential market for Nepali exports. On an average, there are more than 10 flights on a daily basis from Kathmandu to the Middle East. It helps us to export our agro products, bottled water, and other products smoothly to GCC. It means you produce here and export across the world with preferential access. Along with the export of goods, we need to start focusing on export of services too, which is rapidly growing throughout the world. Thousands of Indian nationals visit our border towns for medical treatment. If we could improve medical infrastructure and technical institutions in our hill stations, the number of South Asian and other nationals coming for treatment and education could rise significantly. Religious and adventurous tourism is always there. We have already talked much about potential of IT and hydropower. In a major breakthrough, Nepali cement companies have also started exporting their products to India. Government has amended 12 investment-related laws and regulations to facilitate foreign and domestic investors. Moreover, the framework of the bilateral investment agreement has also been passed from the cabinet. The foreign exchange reserves that we have at present are sufficient to cover imports of 12 months. We now have to focus on how we can create and increase demand in the market. The world outside is a huge market awaiting to be tapped. We need to grab this opportunity. We want to provide our foreign investors with the best investment climate that we can. FNCCI organized business and investment summits in India, China, and Dubai, respectively, in the last year. That is our effort to attract foreign investment and increase exports. We are open to organize such events with other countries, and I request the participant chambers and other participants that we will come to your country for events, and we also welcome you for different events in Nepal. We at FNCCI also have an FDI help desk at our secretariat. The help desk was established to provide assistance to foreign investors. If any investor requires any help regarding any investment policy or procedure, please feel free to approach us. We will be more than happy to assist you. Thank you, and I wish all the participants have a fruitful 2 days at the summit. Thank you.
Thank you, Gokarna. Thank you very much. Thank you for highlighting the things and also informing the floor that what FNCCI offers for the FDIs and so. So I have been told by the organizers that time is running out, and exactly it is running out because this session was supposed to complete at 4 o'clock, but we started at 4:15. So I must conclude this session, and let me go to the podium so that I can see everyone's face over there. Okay, distinguished panelists, distinguished participants over here, thank you very much for your patience that you are still here with your cheerful faces and so. Today, in this session, we heard varieties of experiences, not only from the domestic investors, but also from the external investors. I would like to thank you very much for the presenters, for your inspiring and encouraging statements, and some were very powerful investments too. And you were encouraging the investors sitting around in this hall to invest in Nepal and to convince them that your investment would not be a waste in Nepal. So thank you very much for that powerful statements and so. This session was actually designed to tell the stories by the investors themselves. Because what we thought that the private investors like you understand the issues when themselves speak. And when we talk about the regulations, when we talk about the procedures and everything, and then you would sometimes, be confused whether that is true or whether that is only in paper or whether that is in the practice and so. Now, the investors themselves are telling their stories that their investments were the success in Nepal. So, that compels you to believe the things, right? So, you can also invest in Nepal and make the benefits. And thank you very much for your stories, the panelists. And thank you for choosing Nepal for your investment. And I truly believe that you are highly satisfied investing in Nepal. Also, I hope that you will scale up your investments in the coming days, not only in the sectors that you are investing in now, but in the multiple sectors in the future also. As we have heard in the morning session and in the afternoon sessions also, there are varieties of reform measures that the government has taken. The one and foremost very important legal reforms that happened today when the Right Honorable President issued the ordinance amending some laws that are relating to the investment facilitation. They are related with the land acquisition, forest, national parks, industrial enterprises, foreign investment and technology transfers, and PPP that enables the IBN to be strengthened in the future and so. So these are the only the beginning of the amending some of the laws that are somehow obstacles to you. And there are many more in the pipeline. So we will be continuously working on easing the environment over here, not only in the legal terms, but also in the procedural terms. As Right Honorable Prime Minister in the morning session said that we have two agencies. One is IBN, Investment Board of Nepal, and another one is the Department of Industry. Both have the one-stop services to you. And they are very much committed to ease the procedures. And we will be making these procedural reforms in the coming days. And also, the Right Honorable Prime Minister also informed that the government of Nepal has recently approved the model framework for the BIA, Bilateral Investment Agreement, which enables you to sign, if any friendly country signs the agreement with us, then your investment is protected and your investment would be promoted over here. So I also echo the same that Right Honorable Prime Minister said in the morning, that I would like to encourage all of you to sign the BIA with us so that any of your investors from any country would be protected over here. And the repatriation is quite easy and everything is easy and so. So I don't need to spend much time over here because you have heard from the horse's mouth. So I don't need to tell that, okay, this is the environment that the people are getting benefits from here, investing in here and so on. Because they told themselves and they told their stories and you listen to them. So I would like to invite all of you to invest in Nepal. And if you have any problems, then you can approach us to the government agencies, and we are always to facilitate you. With this small note, I'd like to thank all the participants very much for your patience over here, and I'd like to once again thank the presenters for their presentations. Thank you very much. So big applause to the presenters. That they really, I hope that they really encouraged you to make your investment in Nepal. With this, I would like to conclude this session also. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And immense thanks on behalf of the organizers to all the distinguished members in the panel. And as we head towards the very concluding moments, we take a moment to extend our bit of appreciation for the valuable time that you've extended and such insightful, encouraging and inspiring stories that you bring to this forum, which only adds so much value and so many takeaways for many, many individuals herein. In the interest of time, we could not open the floor for the questions. However, given the availability of our distinguished speakers, please feel free to connect to them and then have the opportunity of knowing more and exchanging and fostering more sharing. Said that to extend the appreciation and gratitude on behalf of the organizers, may I invite upon stage the Joint Secretary at the Office of the Investment Board of Nepal, Mr. Pradyumna Upadhyaya, for presenting this token of appreciation to the session chair, Chief Secretary of the Government of Nepal, Dr. Baikuntha Aryal. Thank you, sir. Thank you for so magnificently running the session and adding all the value to this incredible sharing. Thank you so much. And now, representing the government of Nepal, it's our request to the session chair, the Chief Secretary, Dr. Aryal, to kindly make a presentation of the appreciation to our distinguished members in the panel. First and foremost, to the presentator, the former Chief Executive Officer at the Office of the Investment Board of Nepal, Mr. Radhesh Pant. Thank you for the very valuable sharing that you added to the forum. To our distinguished speakers, namely IBN board member Ms. Bhavani Rana, from Coca-Cola, Vice President, Public Affairs, Communications and Sustainability for India and Southwest Asia, Ms. Devyani Rajalaxmi Rana. CEO at SAP